Welcome to this edition of Silver Sneakers Boom Muscle. This is a continuation in my series on beginning powerlifting for seniors. A few words of caution. Whenever you lift something heavy, your blood pressure can go up. You want to make sure that you have medical clearance to engage in high intensity heavy lifting from your medical provider. You might want to see what happens to your blood pressure when you, let's say, do a deep knee bend, or when you're bracing, meaning you're inhaling maybe 2/3 of the way and contracting. This is called a Valsalva in other terms. That can raise your blood pressure. Just going through the deep motion of the deep knee bend to standing up, sometimes your blood pressure can drop and you might feel dizzy. I would caution against doing any lift that you can't complete for 3 to 5 repetitions at least, meaning you're not trying to get your maximum lifts. For seniors, I would avoid ever doing a max lift, putting the weight down a little bit to where you know you can handle it for that 3 to 5 repetition range or even more. There are benefits to strengthening these fibers, muscle fibers, but also you need to have some total body fitness. So I would recommend that you've done Silver Sneakers Classic or a regular Boom muscle class for at least a couple years to make sure that you have increased strength for all the muscle fibers throughout your whole body before attempting these heavier lifts. To start today, I'm going to do some warm-ups, working on my shoulder flexibility, which for me is one of the many numerous problems I have with this, just to get into position to do a squat with the bar behind my neck or upper shoulders. So I'm going to grab a wooden pole here. I like the wood one because it is very light but strong, much less painful to stretch out my shoulders. And so to start, just try and bring my elbows down and my shoulders back. You can do some trunk rotations, which is warming up the lumbar and thoracic spine. Bring the elbows in a little bit more. I'm doing some light good mornings. Again, just to get my pulse up and my body warmed up. Bring it in a little bit more. And just rotate around a bit. Back to rotations. And put my arms out and get out of that. And we're going to do some front raises with the pole. Put my hand on one edge, push out, back. Switch sides. I'm going to take one hand, put over my head, try and get the pole behind me. And grab it with my other hand. Pull up, down. Again, since this is rubbing against my spine, it's very nice that it's a smooth piece of wood. Switch sides. Where is it? And on this side. hold this to loosen up my shoulders is to grab with one hand, put it behind my arm. To get in this position, I bring my elbow forward, get the pole behind that, try and rotate, and just a gentle external rotation. Hold for a couple beats. At the end of the workout, I might do these same exercises, holding them longer for a true static stretch. But at the start, just a couple seconds stretch for a dynamic stretch, which improves the exercise. The static stretch before exercising actually diminishes it. That's contrary to how we were all taught in grade school or whatever. Okay. Take a little break. Another aspect of the squat is a correct posture. If as you are descending, you have a tendency to lean forward, that shifts the weight from directly in line with your center of mass, and it's going to increase your risk for lower back injury. So that's going to require significant flexibility in your hips and knees, in addition to the shoulders. So starting in a seated position, I want the bar to be pretty much over the center of my foot and stay there the whole time. So by starting by sitting, get the wooden pole behind and lean forward until it seems to be over the center of my foot. And then I'm going to stand up from here. Let's lower down and try and keep our upper body from going too far forward. There might be a little bit of move there depending on how long your legs are compared to your trunk. Each person's different, but you want to try and keep the bar going pretty much in an up and down vertical plane. Moving away from the platform, you can see if you can go a little bit deeper. Without going forward. It's a good exercise even with something as light as a wooden pole. Another aspect of preparing to squat is an explosive power coming up out of that deep position. Way to train that is to get into a deep squat and hold it for a couple beats and then come up as quickly as you can. So I have a little support over here, you can't see it in case I lose my balance, but no weight at all. Just down, get my hips below my knees, hold it, power. Now, you saw I had a little hop there. That's fine, you don't have to hop, you can just come up to back to normal stance. Do it again. Deep squat. Oh, and one more time. This is essentially a plyometric move. You don't want to do it too much. 3 to 5 repetitions, maybe once or twice a week, is sufficient to start working on that power. You can always add a weight. So I've got a bar here. You want to put this behind my neck because as they come up, it can bounce a little bit and damage your upper back, your vertebrae, or spinous process. So get down in that deep squat position, brace, and up. As you're preparing to squat with a metal bar, you might find that's rubbing against the bones sticking out of your upper back, like your spinous process of your vertebrae, the spinous process of the scapula. A lot of younger bodybuilders, weightlifters caution against using a pad around the bar, but these are folks, I think, who've had some hypertrophy in their muscles. They're bigger, they support the bar up off the bone. Hitting the bone can be very uncomfortable, so at least starting off, you can put a pad on, protect those upper areas a bit, and work on developing those muscles. Again, as a senior, it's a fact of life. Our muscles start to atrophy and get smaller, and so it's a constant process to try and maintain them, to reverse that. So far, it doesn't seem quite possible, but I'm working on it. So next I'm going to just take the Olympic bar, which weighs about 45 pounds. I have a pad on it just to work on range of motion and posture. Again, trying to keep a good squat position without leaning too far forward, rounding my back, or doing anything that could cause an injury. As I try and get in position, this pad can roll. So I want to start with the junction down towards the bottom, so as I get in position, it'll roll and not do that Velcro against my neck, which is uncomfortable. Takes me a bit to get into position. Step back. Good position. Release. If you have someone to spot you, help you re-rack, a couple of things I have to be careful with is, since my hands have to be pretty far out due to lack of flexibility, I don't want to pinch my hands when I re-rack, and it's nice to have the mirror so I can see exactly where I am as I try and get the bar back in place. Additionally, I always set up these supports for protection, where if I lose control of the bar, I can basically drop to my knees. The bar will catch on these and get me a way out of the lift without getting injured. One aspect of the squat that makes it particularly challenging is core stabilization. While you have this heavy weight behind your back, your core has to be stable with support so that you don't twist or torque or pull any little muscle in your core, which can be debilitating and might lay you up even for weeks. So core exercise is very important. One exercise I do to start working on my core stabilization is a partial squat. I have a little bit of weight, some weight, loaded onto the bar, and my plan is to just do a partial squat. Just coming down maybe a few inches just to start working on making sure my core muscles are engaged and strong. And down just a few inches. As you progress, you can get a little bit deeper with that, ultimately coming into a full squat. Again, give yourself plenty of time, months even, to get all these muscles working in unison. As you've seen in some of my previous videos I'll use machines to help me squat, like a squat machine, hack squat, Smith type machine, etc. The problem with these is they don't require core stabilization. So while I think they're very important to use these to get stronger, I still think you should do these partial squats periodically, working on those core muscles specifically. In addition to core strength and stabilization, you want to work on your balance, which is involved in core as well. So one thing I like to do is take a half dome. This is a Bosu brand. Put it with the ball side down and step up on the platform. I have a support here. I can get to put one foot kind of close to the middle. Step up. And then I try and slide my feet out to the edges. And go. And see if I can do a nice slow squat. Get down in my deep squat position, trying to keep my back neutral. And let it, my little stabilization muscles working like crazy. Come up and down, slow. Remember to breathe. Got the support here if you need a little help. And up. And one more time. To get off this, again, hang on to your support. Lean to one side. You need one foot. Take this very slowly. It's in this position, it's very unstable, very easy to fall, twist an ankle, or whatever. So certainly rely on your support and take it slow. Moving on for exercises to increase bench press. Many lifters lift with a arc, basically from their upper middle chest to sort of right above their chin. So it's a curve. So a machine like this puts you into that position. They call it an incline press, but to me it really simulates that bench press movement. I also like that the arms are independent, so if I press together, I can identify if I have a weakness on one side or the other, and maybe work on that. So, starting off set puts me in a good range of motion. And then press. So in a training session like this, I can add some weight to increase that effort, again aiming for about 5 to 6 repetitions. When you're exercising in this mode, trying to increase these power muscles, you want to give yourself some significant rest between sets, sometimes 2 to 3 minutes or so. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to shut that down, but always feel free, if you're following me, to pause the video and let your heart rate recover, feel like you're energized again. You don't want to take too much time, more than 5 minutes, probably counterproductive. But again, we're trying to maximize increase of strength and power, and we're not trying to get an aerobic workout. Not at least this part. fingers. So I noticed my left side felt pretty close to max on that. Right, still doing pretty good. Just going to go up by, say, 5 pounds on each side for a final set. Another thing I like about a machine like this is if it's too much weight, it's very easy to just let my arm come back to the off position. Complete safety. I don't run the risk of losing control of the weights or not being able to get away from the device. Part of bench lifting, bench press, is gaining confidence in a weight you can handle. Because when you're doing a full bench press with an Olympic bar, it's pretty easy to be out of balance, to lose control of the weights, have them shift on you, or if your energy just isn't there, not being able to push the weight that you're confident you can move. The body's need rest, recovery, adequate sleep, adequate nutrition, all those different factors. So you're never quite sure on any particular day what you're going to be able to do. So I would always recommend that you go light to start, see how you're feeling. If it's not right that day, maybe stop at that point and give yourself another day to adjust. If you're feeling good, go ahead and push yourself a little bit harder. Let's see how we do on this one. My goal again was to try and get at least 3 repetitions, got 4, and felt pretty good at that point. There are a lot of exercises you can add to work on strengthening your stabilization muscles, your chest muscles, both your triceps and biceps are involved in the chest press. So I'm not going to go over those right now, but in a subsequent video, which looks more like your classic Silver Sneakers Boom Muscle, we'll do plenty of those. I like to do flies or a single dumbbell mid-chest press where I take the dumbbell, hold it right in front of me, or diamond push-ups, any number of different exercises, and also working on the shoulders in general, like a shoulder press, rear delt, lateral raise, etc. Moving on to the deadlift. This is quite a challenging exercise. Again, you want to make sure you have medical clearance to engage in this high intensity power exercise. Make sure your blood pressure is good. I would not recommend this for anybody who has significant heart disease, unless you've been cleared by your cardiologist. And even then, I would aim for perfect form, getting stronger, and not trying to get to max lifts. So I'm going to start off with some kettlebell swings. Deadlift requires significant strength in your hips, glutes, posterior hamstrings, your shoulders, grip strength, and back, as well as, again, as a very strong core. Next, I'm going to move on to some cleans with just the Olympic bar. start with the bar low, kind of like in a deadlift position, and just bring it up to your chest. In weightlifting, you always want to know where your feet are in relationship to the weight. Another warm-up exercise for the deadlift is the Romanian deadlift, or RDL, which is a partial range of motion of a deadlift, primarily the upper portion, working on your hips moving forward. You want to get the weight up to where your arms are straight, up to like hip height. Make sure your shoulders come back, your hips are forward. Posture is very important. You want to look up, keep your back neutral. And you can lower the weight to somewhere below the knees, but not a full deadlift. In addition to warming up hips, posterior muscles, it's also working on grip strength, which to lift this heavy weight and hold on to it to complete the lift, you have to be strong enough in your grip to manage the bar. Load up the bar with another plate on each side. You're going to repeat, do a few RDLs, and then lower the weight to the floor to get ready to do the full deadlift. As you can see from the position of the bar, it's only a little bit lower than where I bring it down for my RDL. If you want to get a greater range of motion, you can always put down a platform or a step of some sort to raise your body up so you're down closer. Some people might use smaller weights like the 25s, which would again lower the bar towards the ground. So, getting onto our full deadlift, some people like to do an overhand grip, one hand overhand, one underhand, both underhand. It's personal preference. You can do it with your feet shoulder width apart or farther out in sort of a sumo posture. Again, I would work on doing lighter weights, find out which one feels most comfortable to you. When you start lifting the heavier weights, again, you want to be in a groove where you know you're comfortable. I'm on a platform with nice padding, so if I need to bring the weight down quickly or drop it, it's not going to cause any harm. So, I've got to lower my hips, buttock first. I like the bar just about mid-foot. It might slide along my shins, so you want to have either some padding or at least long pants on to keep from scraping the bar. On a brace. I think it's good to always let complete weight off the bar. Take a couple breaths and go for another repetition. The problem with trying to do back-to-back repetitions is it's easy to lose focus. If you do that, your back might round, your hips might not be low enough, and very easy to get injured. So I think better to take your time, focus, make each lift complete, perfect form, and recognizing it will make you stronger. One more. Getting the weights off when it's loaded pretty heavy can be difficult. So I try and end up on my last lift, getting the bar back on the supports, or just taking my time and loading it. So one more, I'll walk forward. Now I could stop my workout here, but feeling pretty good. I want to work on my grip strength, so I'm going to just keep my arms straight, lift the bar up off of the platform, and try and hold it there for as long as I can. This is also going to work my shoulders, upper arms, as well as my forearms and grip. Lots of different variations of that. Sometimes I'll do a farmer's carry maybe 2 45-pound plates in each arm, or a heavy kettlebell. Catching my breath. So I hope you enjoyed this version of Silver Sneakers Boom Muscle, the road to powerlifting, and I hope to see you again.